as our very first guest on the podcast.
I am delighted. Thank you.
It means so much to me because, Patti, you were my PLTI facilitator and my site coordinator in Danbury, and I graduated in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is all about you today. And I would love for you to share with us about your PLTI journey. So first, for the record, if you can just let everybody know your name and also which PLTI community you came from.
Mm-hmm. Again, thank you so much for this invitation. I am delighted to be here. My name is Patti Keckeisen. I am a parent leader. I am a graduate of the class of 1999 in Danbury, Connecticut. So the second graduating class there.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. 1999. So PLTI has been in Connecticut for about 32 or 33 years now. And you were in the second class.
That's right.
Amazing.
That's right. Yeah.
It's amazing. So what was your community project and what impact did it have on the Danbury community?
My project wound up being, it was a response to something that the mayor at the time mentioned. The sponsoring agency at the time of Danbury PLTI was an agency called Danbury Children First. And I heard the mayor say, I don't know who they are and what they do. And we knew that PLTI was going to be something that was going to stay in Danbury for a very long time. There was a critical need and interest in it as well. And so I thought to myself, it needs a public relations campaign of some kind. And so Danbury Children First was always parent-led, parent-driven, and very much volunteer-based for those early years. And so I got the chance to work with someone who's become another dear friend, Caroline Lafleur, who was working on newsletters and publicity. And so we got to work together a little bit on that. But the bigger thing I think that happened was that the mayor came to speak to the class and understood a lot more about what Danbury Children First was and what its mission was. And also, because of the information and inspiration of PLTI, I left my corporate job ultimately to become an employee at Danbury Children First in a very interesting and really insightful, forward-thinking role called the Parent Leadership Development Coordinator of Danbury Children First. So it had outcomes that one didn't expect in that regard.
That's amazing that you left your corporate job to do this work in community. And I would say for many people who don't know, but Danbury Children's First was around for a very long time and served as a sponsoring organization for PLTI for many, many years before they closed their doors. But then there was this effort by the civic design team to ensure that PLTI continued in community and that they were to get another sponsoring organization that would have the same values that, PLTI is all about. And so, Patti, what was that journey like? I think people might be interested to hear the importance of a civic design team and what the civic design team is within the PLTI framework and model.
Yes. Elaine Zimmerman, in her brilliance in initiating this work and sort of birthing it, realized that PLTI is about civics and democracy for families. And so it can't really be owned by an organization, by an agency or an entity. It belongs to the people. And so she designed what she called a civic design team, which would be a cross-section of the community that believed in the values and the mission of PLTI, wanting parents to have a voice, a place at all decision-making tables. Danbury Children First was a beautiful organization to hold that space for all those initial years. And the civic design team is what we call the invisible hand behind PLTI. So it's not the executive director or the parent leadership development coordinator who owns PLTI and runs it, but rather it's done in unison with community. And so it's a reflection of who the community is, as is all aspects of PLTI. The classroom of participants, as well as the civic design team, reflects old, young, business, nonprofit, government agencies, people from different entities, homeschoolers, public schoolers, etc. The gamut to work with the Parent Leadership Development Coordinator to implement PLTI successfully over the years.
Yeah, it's amazing. A lot of people ask me, "Well, isn't it like a board of directors or,
Mm,
is it an advisory board?" And I like to say that it really is the body that sustains and ensures the growth of a PLTI as well as its longevity. And so PLTI has been in Danbury more than 25 years.
yes.
And it is because of the work of that civic design team that we continue to have a PLTI in Danbury.
Mhm.
I would also say, that it's open to alumni, right? And
Yes.
so a good portion of the civic design team are parent leaders, people who have gone through the PLTI journey.
Mhm.
I served on that civic design team at many points in my life, and because of my current role, sometimes I try to back away because I think that my power is probably best used somewhere else, right?
Mhm.
And really want to make sure that parent leaders locally have the power to make change happen and to lead PLTI in their community.
That's right.
Um,
Can I make one
sure,
distinction, though?
yeah,
Yes, parent leaders can indeed be on it, but one need not be a PLTI graduate or a other parent leadership program graduate to be on it,
right.
because it does reflect community. I just wanted to
Yeah,
point that.
that's important because you want to have the librarian, you want to have the banker,
That's
you
right.
want to have other philanthropy groups as
Mhm.
well. So
The
those
school
people,
custodian.
the school custodian,
Yeah.
all the people in community who care about
Yeah.
positive outcomes for children and families. So I think that's important. Thank you for making that distinction. So, Patty, PLTI is the premier parent leadership development and civics engagement model
Mhm.
across the country.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not even pretend it is.
Mhm.
But there are many other great initiatives out there, and there's people empowering people. There's parents supporting educational excellence, which is kind of like a spinoff of PLTI, but really focuses on education and working with school districts.
Yes.
And there are also other leadership development opportunities, whether they're at universities or um, particular consultants offering those opportunities. But
Mhm.
why did you choose PLTI
Mhm.
so many years ago as the path for your leadership development?
Yes. And it was because of the foresight of someone who worked at Danbury Children First at the time. So my foray into community, I wound up having 2 children under the age of 2 after years of trying, and really felt like I was isolated in community. And so I started a community play group, with 4 families in a church basement. And within a year, it had grown to 25 families, included grandparents watching children, even included back in the day, because this was the mid 90s, included a stay at home dad at the time, which
Okay.
was really progressive. And so it wound up becoming an early childhood program without me even trying. And so Amanda Castro, who worked at Danbury Children First at the time, said, we're starting up this thing called Parent Leadership Training Institute. Patty, I really think you should be part of the first class. And I was very much interested in it, but I needed to sort of do a wait and see. I needed to see, well, what's the outcome really going to be? I'm hearing about it, but it sounds so new. And so the first class went through, and it was when Amanda would come to my play groups on Monday, and when she said to me, they're at week 7 and they don't want this experience to end. And I thought, what is that? Having been a corporate trainer and a team building specialist and all these things in other worlds, I thought, what happens in that space that's making parents feel that way? It piqued my curiosity, and I wanted to be the first one on the list for the next year.
I
Yeah.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
And you were.
Yeah.
And then you went on to be a PLTI facilitator.
Yeah.
You were also the site coordinator with the very special title,
Mhm.
right? Like you were doing, leadership development for parents and
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
organizing parents in a way through Danbury Children's First to give them access and opportunity to lead, right?
Exactly.
So through opportunities on the board at Danbury Children First, playgroups, other things. I met some of my very best friends
Yes.
through that work at Danbury Children's First.
Yes.
And that's how I kind of got involved in PLTI as well. But from Danbury Children's First in that role, you then went on to do something else, right? Right. The work continued to evolve.
It did.
And so where did it go and where did you land?
Right. I don't know that I've landed,
Oh,
right? I
okay.
still feel like I'm on the runway. I'm still taking off. There's still a destination. So it was really, truly amazing. The experience of PLTI as a participant is so empowering. It provides so much information and inspiration that suddenly the lid is off,
Yes.
right? There's nothing capping our capacity any longer. And so my prayer was always guide my feet, which happened to be a book written by Marian Wright Edelman, who became my hero, really. And so in that, I just kept being aware. I kept being aware of opportunities, of sensibilities, of the people who had the same heart and soul and the same commitment to equity, to opportunity for all. And pathways presented themselves.
Mhm.
And when they did, I stepped in.
Okay.
And so it never occurred to me. I mean, I remember meeting Elaine Zimmerman after graduation and thinking, oh my goodness, this is the most brilliant woman with strength and capacity and understanding and vision and a clear path to get there. To think that she would ultimately become a mentor of mine and a fellow colleague astounds me,
Yeah.
even today. I remember there were times when I would say to her, you have to realize that the family that I came from, my father worked for Sears Roebuck. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
old it was that it was called Sears Roebuck, you know. My mom worked part-time and had summers off. The fact that I am doing this with you is beyond imagination. But something that happened with PLTI was this for me. I could feel the ancestors behind me. I always do this gesture because I can feel that there are, it's a multitude. It's not one or two. I feel a multitude of people behind me supporting me, but also gently pushing me forward.
Wow.
Right? My grandparents came here from Europe. They thought my grandmother was so young and inexperienced that she looked for gold in the streets of Lower Manhattan because she heard that in the United States, the streets were paved with gold. She didn't understand metaphor, right?
Yes.
So this is where I'm from, and this is what moves me forward, and this is why I don't feel like I'm quite done yet. I did have the opportunity then to become a facilitator of classes for both phases 1 and phase 2, although phase 1 is my love and my strength. And then to work with Elaine Zimmerman to train other facilitators in Connecticut. Over the years, as Elaine would get phone calls from people in other states, then suddenly it started to become not just a in Connecticut thing, but across the states.
Right.
And everywhere from Florida to California to Colorado and Wyoming and other places. And so suddenly there was a national team of trainers that worked beautifully together to make this happen, including in Brisbane, Australia,
Yeah.
in the state of Queensland. So it's just been a journey. And now we have our NPLI. So the state of Connecticut, of course, owns the PLTI curriculum created by Elaine Zimmerman and others all those years ago. And yet we have this relationship with the state of Connecticut now that NPLI can advance it outside the states.
Yes, and NPLI is the National Parent Leadership Institute.
It is.
And we have been great partners together since before I was executive director of the commission with Stephen Hernandez,
Yes.
really working together with NPLI to ensure that PLTI is thriving and implementing in other states outside of Connecticut. And it's beautiful work.
It is.
It's beautiful to think that there are thousands of PLTI graduates across the country and in Australia
Yes.
and in also sovereign nations like White Earth,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That there are parent leaders every day being supported and their leadership being acknowledged and valued, and that they're going out and making an impact in community, very much like yourself, Patty. And it is such an honor also to call you a colleague and a mentor. I think the same way you feel about Elaine, I feel about you. And I wouldn't be in this seat today if it had not been for your support and keeping me connected to PLTI in my community and being the leader that I can watch and follow. So,
Thank
so I have so much gratitude for you, Patty. So, I love that you said that you haven't landed, that you're still taking off. But what do you suppose might be next
Yeah,
for you?
I do wonder. I do wonder. The world continues to evolve, right? People are craving meaning and significance, right? Purpose. PLTI has an amazing way of offering that to people. I think that one thing that I think will start to happen more and more is that those who have graduated years ago are going to come back and take PLTI again because as the world evolves and as our needs as leaders evolve, the curriculum has very much stayed the same in its impact and significance, and yet it has been modified to make it current in so many ways that there's an opportunity for people to come back for that. I long for the day when it's easy to find on LinkedIn all the other graduates, that we have some sort of a designation.
Yes.
I long for the day that PLTI makes its way to universities and other places where not only are people getting college credit for it, but that educators and decision makers are taking the class because they realize that it's going to help them do their jobs better. Right.
Yes.
So I look forward to getting back in classrooms and being a facilitator in community, in national trainings, training people from all over the United States, and continuing to work in our state to make PLTI as vibrant as it could ever be.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a big what's next. And also I'm taking notes to see how I can support in the ways that I can.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Patty. This has been a wonderful conversation. And certainly the intention of this podcast is to highlight the voices of parent leaders and to show the impact that PLTI has had on them and the community. So thank you so much for being our first guest.
It's my pleasure. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for inviting me.
And thank you, everyone. Stay tuned for our next parent leader who's going to share about their project and impact they're having.